Hit us off.
Episode 10.
Episode 10.
9.
10.
It's
10.
It says 9 on the paper.
It does say 9 on the paper. This
Nice
was
try.
from last one. We filmed 11 episodes, but this is the 10th one. We didn't keep one because it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very special guest. Introduce yourself.
I'm Hugo Crane. I'm a student at Hawthorne Valley Waldorf School.
And tell us why you're here.
So I was actually watching the podcast going through, as you all should be doing, and I just happened to see Noah talking about Waldorf School, and I was like, I actually go to Waldorf School, so I feel like it'd be kind of helpful to the podcast and just like for people to know like what's going on with the Waldorf schools.
Because Noah's a little far from it.
Yeah, a little
right?
outdated. It also changed a lot in high school.
It changed a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you got for us? What?
Can I ask questions first?
Oh yeah, you're gonna ask questions first.
Okay.
Start us off.
Breakdown. What's a Waldorf school? In your eyes, not like what they said.
Yeah. So
Your eyes.
I guess
your own definition.
a Waldorf school is kind of in an environment that, in like a normal school environment where kids can learn and grow, but kind of more in tune with nature and the ideals of like Rudolf Steiner, which he was like a philosopher, and he kind of created a movement, like the anthroposophist movement. And so it kind of like in lines with his ideals. Well, like
Sure.
I actually don't know. I got to be completely honest. with you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do they not teach them to you guys, or you just don't pay?
I don't think we haven't been there yet. Yeah, we haven't really gotten into it yet. But it's just kind of, it's like, more in tune with nature and kind of like the natural. Yeah.
So when you say in tune with nature, as in, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You gotta remember,
No, so we
as a
we
public
go
school
outside more often. Yeah, so I did go to public school till 3rd grade, which isn't that big of an experience, but I kind of got to understand it more. I actually did
New York City public school.
New York City.
Okay.
I did public school. I did 3rd grade twice because of that. And I gotta say, in the city, we went outside like so little.
Yeah, you go outside barely anything.
Yeah, we would go into like a big asphalt parking lot for like maybe like 25 minutes.
If the weather was nice.
If the weather was good, or we'd be in the cafeteria. So at Hawthorne Valley though, we'd go outside like probably like 3-4 times a day, depending on the weather and the class. Yeah, it's really. When I was younger, I didn't really appreciate it as much as I do now, because like now when we're locked inside, like for high school days, I'm like I just want to go outside so bad.
Sure. Okay, so to define Waldorf school, in your own words, it's natural. It's like the best way you would define it.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So when I think of natural, I think of like holistic, sort of, like a yoga
Hippie.
meditation, hippie type of thing. Like,
Yeah, I think it definitely does give off that vibe, but I don't know how, it's actually very hard to explain. I don't know if you may have encountered this, but it's one of those things, it's like a feeling and less than like an idea. And I think it actually
that's
does.
the most Waldorf thing I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
it is. No, it totally also changes depending on your school, because like I'm on the basketball team, the varsity team, and we went to a tournament down in Kemerton, Pennsylvania.
Another Waldorf school?
Another Waldorf school. It was a full Waldorf tournament. And so kids from Toronto came down, kids from Washington, D.C. came over. And so we just got to like kind of be exposed to the other kids. And like really, as a school that doesn't have a gym, it kind of showed how much work we've put in. So actually like we were like the semifinals.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, you remember when we did like those medieval games and stuff?
Yeah.
Those other schools were
schools.
so different than...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So then how was one of those Waldorf schools different from you guys? What did you notice?
They just operate more. Okay, I don't know. It's kind of... It's hard to explain because Hawthorne Valley is... Okay, actually, no, I have a good way to explain it. Good. Hawthorne Valley, a Waldorf school is kind of defined by the area. Okay. So because Hawthorne Valley is like upstate New York, it's kind of the upstate New York crowd. There's a lot of city kids coming up. There's like a lot of city inspired. So people who go back and forth every weekend eventually make the decision to stay up here,
to just move up there.
And they put their kids in like an alternative lifestyle school, because public school maybe is not what they were hoping for. Yeah, and it also is terrible.
Okay, so you're saying Waldorf school is kind of like a chameleon in that depending on where it is, it will sort of adapt what's around it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if there's a Waldorf school in a big city, because I'm sure there's Waldorf schools.
There is. There's a Waldorf school in New York City down. My mom actually went there. A large part of my family.
So is it less natural than, let's say, Hawthorne Valley?
Well, so I've been there multiple times. It's right on Central Park, so they still have like that connection with nature, you could say. But it's in this big building, and they have the same kind of like Waldorf classes. So we can get into later, like eurythmy.
Yeah.
which-
I've heard about this.
Yeah,
I never got
it's
into
pretty
that,
fun.
so-
Yeah, so eurythmy, like orchestra, which
Uh-huh.
we just like, it's like string instruments, and it's like, yeah, it's like they have like their own
Bruh.
form of movement.
This is weird. Okay,
Yeah.
so
But that you can kind of see in all schools.
sure. So best way to describe it is natural. A lot of getting outside, fresh air, nature, sort of.
That actually may be only like a distinction of Hawthorne Valley.
Okay.
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, but
There's,
there are definitely things that other schools have, like the plays,
Similar,
eurythmy,
yeah.
orchestra. They all.
But like they're just lucky that it's on like the whole
Oh,
thing
because
of
you're
land.
on this big ass
Yeah.
plot of land.
yeah, maybe instead of natural, you could say connected to arts because.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, another aspect of Waldorf is like the kind of like flowiness. You could say
Mhm.
like all like they don't have any square edges. All the doors
I
have
always
like
remember them
yeah
saying that.
really?
they're all
Yeah, you
not
always
perfect
boxed in.
squares. Yeah,
So it's kind of like an arch, more so.
it's still straight lines.
It's like
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah, like
got it.
it's like also yeah.
What's the
There's a
reasoning
word.
for this?
I'm not sure. There definitely is. I feel like we've been told it before, but it's not something that's stuck. Yeah,
That's so
but
weird,
you can
dude.
kind of see it reflected in all of the like movement. So the movement eurythmy, which
It's very like
It's-
fluid, right?
yeah, fluid in like the art forms we make. We carve stuff
Mm,
and of clay, and you can kind of see like there's a Waldorf
Okay.
aesthetic, which
got
yeah.
it. So not a lot of like pointed edges. It's
not
very
on the pointed edges.
fluid.
open.
Yeah, yeah. Actually,
Okay.
one of the biggest differences I had to learn was in public school. I would draw with outlines, and
Okay.
they don't let you draw with
Mm.
outlines. So I came from public school, and we use these block crayons, and I had to
Uh-huh.
learn how to shade and not do outlines.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you find that better or worse? Like, did you enjoy that more than using an outline?
Well, actually, now we kind of switch it up a little bit in high
Uh-huh.
school, and so it doesn't really matter as much. I prefer to still use outlines, but I think it has helped me like grow artistically in the sense that I think I can totally draw better from Waldorf.
I think so too.
If I'm not mistaken, Waldorf High School is more similar to public, right?
It is because I think in high school there are things there's like a total
Kind of
curriculum.
needed too, yeah.
There's a full curriculum that you have to hit, and then they also fit room in for their own things. So I think in the past that can not be done very well. Like we don't have like the traditional English classes. Most public school classes I actually don't know like a public school English high
Sure.
school English class would be. But
Read
we
a lot
have
of
like
books,
yeah
read
we,
essays and stuff.
yeah we do that but in a different way.
Okay.
That's maybe more immersive and more like artistically expressed.
Interesting. We can get to that in a moment because I'm curious about that too. Noah. Next
Okay.
next
So
question.
I did this on the other episode. Walk us through a day in middle school.
In middle school.
I'll do high school after.
Okay. So oh wow, that's actually a trip down memory lane. Yeah. So middle
In 2
school.
years.
Yeah, middle school. We come in. It's like I try and get to school between 8 and 8:15. That's the time you're supposed to. 8:15 you'll be marked absent. And
Interesting.
yeah,
They're pretty strict about their time.
Not really.
not as much as you would think. There's kind of like a strict like if you're past 8:20, it's late. If it's before 8:15,
They
it's
forget
before
the
8:15
attendance.
early. Yeah, sometimes they do that. There's also a struggle with switching to online, which we can get to
Yeah,
later.
I'm sure.
But yeah, so middle school, we get to school kind of depending on who's teaching because we have a main lesson, which
I've
is
heard about this.
Yes, yeah. So main lesson is like a big chunk of time. It's roughly 8:30 to 10 o'clock, 10:15. And you just talk about like one subject. It's like maybe a lecture hall, kind
Okay.
of similar to a college class. But there's like time to learn. It depending on who the teacher is. It can vary like a lot. Like we've had geometry, which is much more like lecture, do homework.
So
Whereas
this main
chem-
lesson is cycled, right? So it's
Yeah.
like for a few weeks you're learning geometry, then the next few weeks you're learning something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
So
in that block of like, let's say it's 2 hours, you're just doing geometry practice, learning a lesson, activities, that sort of thing.
yeah. So like I was saying, depending on the teacher, it can really change.
Uh-huh.
But so like that's how you kind of come to have like favorite teachers, just because how
Sure.
immersive their classes can be.
Yeah.
But like in high school it's very different than middle school. In middle school it was much more immersive. Like we would do physics class and we would really like get involved. In high school
Experiments and
there's
stuff?
yeah. In high school there's much more time for just like lecture watching. less doing.
So it's boring, essentially.
It actually can be. Geometry I didn't really enjoy because it was a
Yeah.
lot of listening and then a lot of like precise drawing.
Sure.
But like chemistry, we were able to listen, learn, and then just do.
And then do, like,
which was
experiments.
Really, yeah, that was really
So that's main lesson, 8:15, 8:30ish to like 10:30.
Yeah, they have time for like the late people to kind of sneak in there.
Sure.
In high school, we do morning announcements, but
Okay.
in lower school, I think, or middle school, we would do. I heard you talking about this on the other podcast. I think
Like
it's
some morning thing.
Yeah, exactly, a morning thing. In like when we were in like what's
It was
called?
more
Primary
intense.
school. In primary school, it was much more different. We would go on a walk.
Elementary.
It was really less.
Going
less,
to walk?
Like we would, so
outside?
because there's a giant like woods around it,
Oh
you
my
could walk.
God.
We'd like do a walk a woods loop to just kind of like get everyone
That's awesome.
cycled out. Yeah, it was amazing. Like I really missed that.
Then you don't do that in middle school or high school?
No, in middle school sometimes
Faded out.
it did fade out. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we would do something to kind of get situated. Sometimes we'd practice a poem that is like connected to the main lesson.
It's so strange.
Yeah, or we'd do like a movement exercise.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now we're in the play block actually, which is I'm like so happy about.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, Waldorf schools do a play typically every year, except
Yeah.
for 9th grade, 7th grade, and 11th grade.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, sounds great. To
They
the
do.
circus.
Yeah, 7th grade you do a circus, and then 9th and 11th you don't. Just because
Interesting.
in 9th grade I believe it's like getting accustomed to high school, and then 11th grade is like a really hard year academically.
Uh-huh. Okay, so that's 10.
Yeah.
There's so many things like
There's-
that because
yeah.
it's so strange to my like public school brain.
Yeah, so the play though, we just like spend like a main lesson block doing the play. And in lower school it's different, but in high school we just have play all day. Like we practice this play, we block out, we practice lines, we do like
There's no studying math or history or anything
no,
like that.
it's just like for like 3 weeks we just don't do that. So right now that's what we're in. I don't have a lot of homework. I just gotta learn my lines.
And what play are you guys doing?
We're doing it's called The Enchanted. It's by like Jean Girardot, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so we just do that. But in the morning, instead of going like doing a movement, we kind of like do like tongue twisters, just to,
Okay,
like unravel and like get maybe like get in character for like a bit, just to get used to it. For other blocks, we would do different things. Just it's kind of like to get everyone out of the mindset of being at home to like being in school. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, after main lesson, we have snack recess. It's like basically like food and like
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, he mentioned this.
Yeah,
Snack
and-
recess, as in like you can spend some time eating and some time playing
It's
outside.
like a shorter lunch.
Yeah.
However
exactly.
you want, you can do whatever you want, basically.
No, there's like limitations to where you can go, but you can pretty much do whatever.
So if you wanted to sit inside and eat a snack, you could. If you wanted
Yeah.
to run outside all the time,
They
you
don't
could.
have, yeah. So Hawthorne Valley, actually, I don't know about other schools, but Hawthorne Valley doesn't have a cafeteria. So they kind of lose that. You eat wherever. There's like
Do they
designated.
put it in the hallway still? Like, put
No,
food in?
that they don't do that. They don't have a hot lunch anymore.
Oh, really?
Well, they do. It's a different system. It's like part of the farm store now.
Mm.
Yeah. So they do. They have like designated eating rooms, but people can sit outside depending on the weather, or kind of like
Sure.
do whatever. But it's like you kind of eat a Cliff Bar and like hang out.
Uh-huh.
Is what? Yeah.
And like if you wanted to run around, even as a high schooler, you
Yeah,
could.
you totally could. Like,
Hypothetically.
you
High
can
school,
play
there's still
tag. Sometimes we
snack?
play football. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little shorter. It's a lot shorter though. Sometimes we play football.
And how
some
long
games.
is this?
Okay, I want to say it's 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Well, because we don't really get breaks in main lesson typically, so it's just kind of like a straight shot.
And does a bell ring or something that
No,
reminds? So
no,
how do
the
you know
teacher-
where to go?
The teacher, so we have a schedule that we get, and it's like posted outside of the office. You can like slowly memorize it, or you just look at it. But yeah, so the teacher tells you when to leave, which I'm not a big fan of that because depending on that teacher, they can just keep you for as long as they want, and it can
Sure.
eat into your time.
Like next class or whatever.
Yeah, and your snack and stuff. But yeah, typically you would have snack. You can, and in high school we can go to the store, the farm store, which
Okay.
is this like
Oh, yeah.
holistic store.
7th grade?
Yeah.
Or 8th grade? You can
Eighth
start
grade.
doing that.
Yeah, it's like this like grassroots holistic store across the street. They have like
Pretty
organic
nice.
food. It is pretty nice. They just like change a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
If you go there, try to find Owen Jansen.
Yeah, yeah. Our
Stock boy.
friend works there. Yeah.
Okay, so then that's snack time. So that's what,
That's
like
snack
11
time.
o'clock, give or take?
I think closer. I think it's 10:45.
Yeah,
is our next
10:45.
class,
Okay,
yeah.
and then what comes next?
So that actually, they're also doing something now that's different than they've done in the year. So right now, this year, we're divided into trimesters
Okay,
instead of semesters.
sure.
So during the trimesters, instead of doing 2 periods in between snack and lunch, they do 3. So they're less time, but it's more classes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Was that for high school
that's
and
for high school.
middle school?
I
too?
actually don't know about the middle school.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the middle school, we would have after snack, we'd have 2 classes,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd have lunch, and they were typically like math, English.
Sure, you're more standard
Spanish,
stuff.
Yes.
German.
Yeah, exactly. Spanish, German language. It's pretty much the public school classes, like
Uh-huh.
social studies, kind of.
Interesting.
Everything has different names though. We don't have social studies. Really.
What do you call it?
It's usually just like an English class that's kind of like for that.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. We also have in the high school we have forum.
Forum?
So, yeah. So it's where like the whole high school comes together and like talks about one thing or like watches like a TED talk or something.
Like a political or social type of thing?
Yeah. It depends on like what the current issue is, but it's basically just for the whole high school to kind of like get a bearing on what's going on. So at the end of
Kind of like what they used to do in ancient Greece.
yeah.
Is that what they said? Or no?
No, but that's a good connection.
Yeah, they would have a forum.
Big Greece guy.
Big
Yeah.
Greece. Oh, I love Greece, man.
Oh, yeah. Didn't
Yeah,
you
we
guys,
went-
you
we
guys
went
went to
together.
Greece together?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Okay, so then you have a couple classes, whether it might be,
2 or 3. In high
Yeah.
school it's 3, lower
and
school
then
is
what happens
2.
after that third class?
After that we have lunch recess. So you have I think 30 minutes again, 30 to
do the same thing.
45. Same thing. You can go get food, bring your own food, eat,
Uh-huh.
play, talk, whatever.
And then what happens after
After that we have 2 classes, and then the end of the day, and in high school it's art classes. I don't know what it is lower school, but high school they have like depending on what the they do splits in classes. So there's like groups A and B, and depending on what the split is, you are either doing one thing art with like some people, while the other group does something, and then you either switch or stay depending on what they have
Sure,
planned.
sure.
So, like in 9th grade, we did forge and basket weaving was the split. So one group was doing forge,
that? Okay.
and then we go do another class where
Got it.
we do forge one day and then sculpture the next period.
Sure.
And then another day, or like then after they switched the groups, we do
Gotcha.
instead of forge and sculpture, we do
We
like
did that with
basket
handwork,
weaving,
right,
yeah,
and
basket
stuff, yeah.
weaving and like PE or something.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So they fit some stuff in there, so it kind of doesn't lose. It loses a little bit of uniformity just because they gotta fit all this stuff in.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
and yeah,
And then that's what time does that second one end?
that's one. It's like 1:05 to 3.
Okay, so you're out of there at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you can just go.
You just go.
That last class ends.
The last
teacher's
class ends. You go to your locker, get your stuff, or just like leave if
you
you
just
brought your
dip.
bag.
Okay. Wow. So that's a typical day at Waldorf.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Before I ask something, what do you got?
Were there electives in high school?
Yes. Yeah. So we just actually had a new elective.
Can you pick them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was just
So
there was
good.
just a new elective like thing that went out, like call, I guess you could say. And from memory, it would be there was one on public speaking, one on coding, one on like just like precise art. Just, like,
Precise art?
yeah. So like precise art in nature, like you draw a leaf, like what the teacher like advertised it as. It's like really precise drawings of like flowers or leaves or something. And then the last one is like a study of the Hobbit, the book.
Okay. Interesting. Which one did you take?
So the one issue with the electives is because they have to deal with like all the people, and there's only so many teachers, and they can only handle so many people.
Sure.
They have to. Some classes can have more. So I wanted to do in the order I chose. I put it in like the form. I did public speaking, the what's it called? Public speaking, the art, and then
Hobbit.
code. Oh yeah, the Hobbit. Yeah, I may have changed that. I don't remember exactly.
And did you get what you wanted, or?
We haven't gotten them back yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has just happened. And then they have during the rest of the year they have other electives, but depending on your grade, you can only do so many.
Sure,
so they
sure.
in the beginning of the year they did 11th graders and 12th graders could do some, and then 9th and 10th couldn't.
So then that would fall in those 2 art classes, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you'd
exactly.
have like one art class and then one elective, or?
Yeah, it actually would fall anywhere in the day. So depending on where they want to,
Okay.
where the curriculum leads, they would just go.
Sure, sure. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that was a big question people had on TikTok was,
really?
can you pick any of your own classes?
Yeah. So I'm actually the president of the high school council. We have
Really?
a student council. Yeah, so I'm the founder and president.
Founder.
You founded this, like the student
Yeah,
council?
me and some other people founded it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your role like there?
So yeah, we're still getting in the works because this is the first one we've had in a really long time. But right now we're having meetings every Wednesday at lunch just to like talk things through. We're having we're trying to like in the works. We're trying to get events together for the whole high school. We're trying to just work out like things so that people can feel like things are moving, even though the process is really slow.
You're gonna plan like a music event or something?
Yeah, something like that. That's a great idea. Yeah, right now we have some open houses planned. We have a suggestions box that just went out just for people who feel any things they want to get off their chest, just to make things better.
You should do like a local band night. Like I don't know if any kids.
That's a good idea.
There's,
Yeah,
like,
we do have a
musicians.
pretty rigorous music program that it's actually been lacking in the years recently, but we have like orchestra and chorus. And we used to do really big performances, but I
like
think,
orchestra performances, right?
Yeah.
You could
So
do
like,
like
I play the violin pretty well. I would say.
You
kept up with that?
Yeah.
You could
I
do
don't
like
take
a
lessons anymore.
whatever you want. You know, like a rapper could come on. Or
Yeah, exactly. Community kind of.
Yeah, it could.
Do you still do those like winter concerts at the church?
We do sometimes. Yeah, COVID kind of messed everything up, but yeah.
So what made you want to found the student council again?
So I was trying to get this going last year, but it didn't end up happening. And then some other people kind of like showed interest, and we just kind of got it going. But it just there was like I feel like people felt like they wanted just a way to like make something happen. And
They felt bored, like there wasn't enough stuff going on with the school, or
I
what?
don't know about that, but I think I wouldn't go as far to say as they were bored, but I think they just wanted to have their own input kind of affect what is going on in like a professional sense, instead of just talking to a teacher and being like, I like this, being
And
actually
hoping
able
it
to
would go
make,
somewhere?
being actually able to make like a action or something
Change.
happen, a change. Yeah.
Huh. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Congrats on being the president.
Yeah. Thank you.
Did you get elected, or
Yeah, I
how
did
that
get
work?
elected. I was the highest voted.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what was your your running thing? Like everybody runs with like some promises. Like what did you promise the people?
My speech was pretty impromptu because the campaign didn't have a lot of time to like take off.
Sure.
And they're actually my competition wasn't too challenging.
Do I know?
Huh? It was Justin.
Justin.
And then the other person who was running was he didn't really care too much about being president. He was just happy to see this happening. But I was just like I kind of voiced the same things. Like I know you all want things, and like I know you all care, and like I guess it's just like I want to be like the voice that you can like go to when like you want something to happen, and it can like reach the higher ups with an actual initiative.
So you're just a representation of the school.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the voice of the people.
You're the voice of the people.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My high school did not have a student council.
Really?
But if it did, I think I would have ran. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I wish they had kind of worked it out a little bit more, because I would love to have like gotten posters and stuff and like.
Sure.
It also Halton Valley loses a little bit because there's not that big of a high school. I know everyone in the high school.
How many kids?
I believe the high school is like 50 to 60.
That's insanity. I
Yeah.
think I had, I don't know, 300,
Yeah.
which is not even that much.
No, it's not. Yeah, I was at my camp. Like I was talking to kids. They have like 2,000 kids in their high school.
I mean sorry. I meant there's
in your
300
grade?
in my grade. There was like 2,000 kids in my high
Yeah,
school.
no, yeah, and
That's
we
what
have
people were
just
saying
50,
when I
50
said
kids in the high school.
That's absolutely preposterous. I was in a class of 35.
Yeah, my
And
class
then
is
there's like
16.
3 or 5 or whatever of that one grade.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Do you like that better?
I actually don't know how to feel about that, because I know everyone, like, and like the thing that brings is that you can become friends as more people without just kind of having to like put yourself super far out there. But also it kind of like it allows you to still stay closer with like the people that you're close with.
Do you feel like
But I feel like it also gets repetitive, especially in middle school, or like if you stay there, like, you know.
so if like everybody who started in like elementary school goes to high school, you're with the same people
For
through
12
and
years.
For 12 years.
That's so
It
Same
really-
rad.
teacher
really
also
becomes
for,
a family.
for 8 years, yeah.
Yeah, it really becomes a family.
I feel like if there's drama, it's like everybody knows, and it's a whole big thing.
Yeah, that is a big thing. Yeah. I personally, I like people. I would like to, I don't know about like to, but I enjoy like large settings of people. So I'm not like too in love with the fact that there's so little people.
Sure.
But
Are you planning on going to college?
Yeah.
So are you going to go to a bigger school then?
I'm thinking that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure where I'm gonna go yet, but I'm trying. I have some ideals.
Some ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think as someone who came from big classes, and then when I went to college, I had lecture classes of
Where did
like
you go to college?
1,000. I went to University of Buffalo and then Hunter in Manhattan. So I went to like a really big school and then a commuter school.
That's cool.
I like the idea of a small class, right? Like you know everyone, but then at the same token, like you know, everybody knows everything, who's dating who, and like there's just not a big pool of people to like hang out with. So if you don't like certain people, it's like you're limited.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, even though that is a good point, even in the smaller school, like friend groups still form. So it's like it's a microcosm of it. So like cliques, I guess, have less sway because like you could say there are people who are like, I don't know, there's not really like names. There's not like the jocks and this, but like there are people who are like.
Do you have a popular set of kids, so to speak, or no?
Not really. That is also another thing. Like there isn't like they're relevant people or like there's not. There's no popular kids.
It's like hard to be.
Yeah.
Out of like 20 people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, everyone's popular because like you know everyone.
Yeah, you know everyone.
Yeah. There's not like.
So when a new kid comes, it's kind of like interesting, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly. The new kids like really have a lot of like. Everyone really wants to talk to them and get to know them.
I would imagine because you're like someone new, someone
Yeah,
fresh.
No, totally.
Did you have a new kid at all?
We've had so many new kids this year. So we have an exchange program at Hawthorne Valley.
Were you gonna do that?
I am, yeah. I think I'm going to Maui, Hawaii in August. I exchanged with this girl who's Miss Almquist's niece. Do you want? Yeah. I exchanged with her.
So it's like one person comes and then you go there.
Yeah. So this year we've had 3 exchange students technically. We had 2 from Germany and then the girl from Hawaii.
So she's from Hawaii, which is your teacher's niece.
Yeah.
And then you're going to Hawaii, and then she's coming to here.
No, she's here right now.
Okay. Yeah. And you're gonna do school in Hawaii.
Yeah.
There's a Waldorf school in Hawaii.
Yeah, there is.
Oh my God, they're everywhere.
Our teacher's sister taught there.
Yeah. No, she still teaches there, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Wow, Hawaii. That's pretty interesting. Yeah. There's nothing like that in my high school.
Yeah. Really? Well, so we were looking in because the exchange program is a little bit slower with like my Spanish teacher than the German teacher is a little more on top of it. I've observed, and so while I was like looking into other alternative like exchange programs, and they're like honestly they're not as good as what Hawthorne Valley has going because like the net of Waldorf schools is so big, you can really reach out to them. I sent like maybe like 25 emails and I got like 3 responses.
You had to reach out to families?
Yeah, so not in Hawaii, because originally my plan was just, I had like a list of places I wanted to go. I wanted to go to, like honestly, just like Italy, Japan, Australia, just like places I always wanted to go.
I saw that.
Yeah, I put it like an Instagram pull out. Just places I wanted to go.
I thought you were talking about it.
Places I wanted to go, I just I'll send emails there. So I sent emails everywhere, and I got like a few responses. But it was pretty disheartening to see how little responses I got for how many emails I sent. And some of the exchange students who came here said they sent maybe like 50 to 70 before they even got like a response.
From a host family?
From a host family. Well, the process is you reach out to a school, see if anyone is trying to exchange at that school.
Okay.
And then they see, you maybe like call them, see if the host family matches, and then you work out the logistics. The schools work out the logistics.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a study abroad, but you don't have to worry about the exchange.
Yeah, and it's less expensive and just like less.
And you're gonna live at this person's house?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. So one of my friends is in Japan right now. Actually, yeah, he's
And he lives at his host family's house. Obviously.
Yeah, he lives there, and I think he's bringing someone back. And then he texted me like, ask your class if there's any 10th grade girls that want to come here, because one of my friend's sisters wants to go to America.
Sure.
Or something like that.
And did it work out?
I don't actually know, but yeah, I think we don't have Japanese at the school is the only issue. So if you want to take a language if you're going to go to a country that doesn't speak German or Spanish, you have to really like immerse yourself in the language outside of school.
Outside on your own time.
Yeah, so some people like their
you're going to Hawaii, so it's easy.
Yeah. Some people's families speak languages like already, or you just like have always learned it. Like when you went to a school before that taught the language, but you do got to put in the work outside.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it's hard to be in a country you don't speak the language of. Yeah. You lucked out.
I did.
Speaking English, you don't got to worry about
well, that's the thing. I'm happy to go to Hawaii, but I was kind of excited to really just be like immersed in the language.
Sure.
Like I was gonna go to like Argentina or something and just like really, because I've taken Spanish all my life.
Yeah. Are there Waldorf schools in Argentina?
There are. Yeah, there's a lot of schools everywhere, man. Antarctica, they got some.
Antarctica? I would believe you, bro. I'd believe you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that part. It's a good thing we brought in an expert. Your knowledge is limited.
Yeah, the high school really changes too.
Interesting. Ooh.
Maybe
because half his head is lit now, and the other half is not.
My nose is kind of blocking it off. That might just add some ambiance. Well,
Just a little light. Yeah, it's a weird thing in the corner. Just add a little glow.
All right, sure.
Yeah.
We're at like 30 minutes, so
It's fine.
I'll ask some questions and then we can wrap up. Sweet. So a lot of people ask, not me, but I just see it being talked about as like a cult. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced this. I worked at a restaurant in like this town over, and like I'd like make conversation with the customers, and people would ask me,
where you go to school and whatever.
Where I go to school, and they're like, "Oh, you go to Chatham because it's like the town of Chatham. It's the school is like right down the street." And I'm like, "No, I actually go to Hawthorne Valley." And I say like kind of say like Hawthorne Valley, like there because most people who are around here are like, "Oh,
that's cool."
Because if you grew up in the area, there's like not a stigma, but maybe a stereotype about what Hawthorne Valley is and like what they stand for. And like the just like weirdness going on there.
Sure. Do you agree that it's not like religious, which is like a cult, but it's like people follow it almost like the Rudolf Steiner like a religion?
Yeah, I totally would say that.
Okay.
Yeah, the anthroposophy, like there's definitely like a crowd of people that really like
live and die by it,
and that is a lot of the people they send to the school.
Do you feel that when you're in the school? Like, does it feel like you guys are worshiping this Rudolf
No,
guy?
see, it's not worship as much as it's like the teachers hold his ideals, like what, because the teacher training there is very different than public school, and so usually people are drawn to it because like one of my favorite teachers, he said his wife like started reading anthroposophy books and was like, oh, this is really interesting, and then he reached out to the school and they offered him a job and he moved here.
Wow.
Just like
was he a teacher prior?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he just like it's like the kind of like interest in anthroposophy can like lead you to find the Waldorf schools as a job or just like as an interest. As an outlet, you could say, but it's definitely not worship. The cult you think typically people talk about is like the Mayfair. So we have like fairs, like typical times like not typical, but yeah. So we have fairs like in winter. There's a Yuletide fair. There's a fall fair. There's a May fair. It's like celebrating like summer, and then there's I think one or two more that are like
it's like a carnival. Like what are we?
Yeah, exactly.
Here?
So it's like it's like to get the school community. New people and like funding and like just to like bring light to the community because so many people come. Like we fill up just like the fields next to us with cars.
Wait, I've seen it before.
Yeah, you may have been.
Filled with cars.
Yeah, yeah. So they bring like all people from all around. Like it's like a fun place to go with friends almost. And yeah, they have food, they have vendors and stuff. Yeah, and it is, what's it called? The Mayfair. I don't know
if you saw it from the outside, it looked like a cult.
Have you seen the movie Midsommar?
I have not. No.
Okay, that's a good movie. But in the movie, it's like about like a Scandinavian cult.
Okay.
And there's like a religion they follow, but some of the stuff is like I don't want to say similar because it's like a horror movie about a cult, but like at Hawthorne Valley we do like some like celebrations that are maybe like more like pagan, you could say. Like we do a May fair at the Mayfair. Sorry, where there's like a big pole with like ribbons and you dance around it. And it's that sounds pretty out of pocket and weird, and it's like it is weird.
It is a little strange.
It is pretty strange, and that's what most people see on the outside is like.
Yeah.
And then that with eurythmy, which eurythmy is this like form of movement language that we
tell us about that.
Yes,
what is eurythmy?
Yeah, so eurythmy is this form of movement that's like a language that it's like self-expression, maybe similar to interpretive dance, that you just like it's like a class we have. Yeah,
it's like a dance.
Yeah, it's like a dance but a language, and so
the dance is meant to like give off communication almost.
Yeah, so like certain
it's like letters and stuff like that.
Yeah, certain things have certain sounds. Right, so like I think what's it called? I actually don't remember. It's like L is like this.
So it's like sign language meets dance?
Yeah, you could say that. And people do performances. People do performances. They do like events. They have like there's some pretty big eurythmics out there.
So if you know eurythmy, you can watch it and see the messages that they're giving you, kind of.
They tell stories. So okay, often there's like a poem or a story being told, and the people do an interpretive dance while like saying, so like if you're like the frog jumped into the water, the people would be like like frog, okay, and then like I don't know J, like jumped into the like water.
So they're legit representing a poem, but with their movement.
Yeah, and so in that sense, that's like a movement language, but also what we've been learning recently, we have like a history of poetry class.
Sure.
And what we've been learning is kind of like how the syllables and how like the rhyme can lead into like the movement, and that's been interesting. So like one of the first poems ever written, like called like Beowulf.
Yeah.
It like how like the end rhyme it like translates to like the kind of like stomping and like different motions.
You guys
and
read that?
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good book.
It is good. Yeah, I actually read it before school when I was younger.
Yeah, I read it in college. It's good.
Nice.
Wow. Okay. So as a cult, it can be interpreted as a cult based on its strange practices.
Totally.
But it's not like you go there and pledge allegiance to Rudolf Steiner,
No.
right?
Yeah, it's not. It's nothing like that.
Okay. But as someone who's not in the Waldorf world,
It might seem.
it might seem that way.
It definitely will. I mean, yeah. So at the restaurant, actually, Margot Robbie came and ate at the restaurant I worked at. I brought her food. Yeah.
You're lying.
No, I'm dead ass.
Why was she in Chatham, New York?
I don't know.
my
My boss
restaurant
didn't
was
know.
it?
Huh?
Which restaurant?
Pima, they closed.
Oh, was it that like
It was a Mediterranean place on Main Street.
that place already closed?
Yeah, dude. No, the landlord screwed them. Yeah, that's too bad.
There was that Italian, but that was where No was.
Yeah.
And
It's
they
across
put a
from
new
the clock
restaurant
tower.
there, and then they closed another. It closed.
Yeah, so we were there for like half a year, and Margot Robbie came and ate there. That's pretty
Interesting.
awesome. Yeah, I brought her. It was like trout, maybe salmon. I don't remember. She got fish.
Was she nice?
I didn't talk to her. My boss said she was sweet though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So at the restaurant, we had, what's it called? I was talking to like some random like guys who grew up. They went to Chatham, and they were like totally like we were like joking around just about Hawthorne Valley because when they went to Chatham, they were like 25 or something.
Sure.
Your age. So when they like went to school, they were friends with Hawthorne Valley kids kind of, and they were like made jokes about it. Like in the same sense that I'd be like, oh, I got a Hawthorne Valley, it's like the funny school.
Yeah.
They do the same thing, and so like that kind of as they grew up, they were it's just like the image of Hawthorne Valley was kind of always like tainted with the like jokes.
It's hard to separate the meme to like
Yeah,
how it
no,
actually is.
the meme is totally as a cult school.
Yeah. Interesting. I asked because that's what I see online, and
Yeah.
I only had his experience, and now that I have
Yeah.
a legit Waldorf student.
I also don't know about other Waldorf schools, but it definitely can be interpreted as more on the culty side.
I got interested in it because this musician's daughter was a Waldorf school her whole life, and I was following her, and she posted a story once, was like, what do you guys think? Is Waldorf a cult or not? And she grew up in Los Angeles, and the Waldorf school she went to, she explained similar to what you said, these like weird pagan rituals, and it's very cult-esque, and people had varying responses where they're like, oh, I went to one in like Georgia, and it was the same way, and other people say no.
I think also being like more like nature-y, and like the people
That
around there
definitely
kind of embrace that a little more than I feel like.
I mean, cults are usually like on a farm.
Because like other Waldorf schools are not like on as much land, and the people around there are more modernized, you could say almost.
Yeah, and also Hawthorne Valley, like it's very
secluded,
unique because it is, but it's very unique because it's on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally on like these like acres of fields and also farmland.
Yeah, you guys are like it's a huge company that sells like
yeah,
yogurts.
no, we sell yogurt like cities.
I used to buy the yogurt before I even met him.
Yeah, same. My dad would like tell me, he was like, I used to buy this yogurt, and now you go to school there.
And they have a huge booth at the New York City Farmers Market.
Yeah, so they have like a giant, like I want to say like maybe empire, but of the
They got a yogurt empire.
Yeah, like the more culinary aspects of it.
Sure.
And so they kind of integrate the school into that because the school is an offshoot of it. It's like a separate entity.
So weird.
Yeah, but that maybe adds to an aspect of like the weirdness that like literally my friend and I the other day we were at lunch and I'm like, let's go see the cows, and we like walked across the street and looked at some cows.
Just looked at some cows.
Yeah, like pet some cows.
Yeah, he took me there once and I pet a pig.
Yeah, exactly.
Huge pig.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let me think. Do I got anything else to ask you? You gave me the day in the life. Told me about Eurythmy, which is what I wanted to know about. Would you recommend it? Let's say we were at the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just moved to this area. I have a kid who's about to start high school. Do you recommend Hawthorne Valley for high school?
Yeah. That's an interesting question because it really depends on the person. Like,
Let's say I'm a very progressive parent. Like I'm open-minded to anything.
Well, then also, man, like what the parent like thinks, and it kind of doesn't really correlate because like your parents can be so like married to the Waldorf ideal, but your kid just like doesn't like that there's so little people or doesn't like how art-based it is. Then they just
that happens a bunch there.
That totally happens a bunch, and in that case, like you kind of just gotta.
How much do you believe in the Waldorf ideology?
I actually at this point I'm like I'll finish school. I've been here long enough. Like
it'd be like worse if you went to another school.
Yeah, and also the thing that I was gonna transfer schools like last year, and the thing that kind of like got me really nervous was that Waldorf learning is very different than public school learning, and the curriculum is different. So like I really was afraid to go to like from Waldorf school to like this boarding school in Colorado that I was looking at, and just like going in like 11th grade and just being like flounder.
Yeah, you've
Like
been
have
floored.
nothing, especially in 11th grade is one of the most important years for colleges to look at. And I didn't really want to go there and just have to like be overwhelmed by this new system.
Sure.
And so yeah, I think that maybe is like intimidating.
Do you think you're going to be prepared for college, like to write essays and take exams?
That's the thing. You know, if I'm suggesting this to a parent and the parent has like a young kid, I would say don't send your kid to Waldorf school until like 3rd or 4th grade, because Waldorf schools are really not good at teaching like basic math and basic reading.
At the beginning,
They struggle so much with reading. They really don't push it. And as when we went to public school,
they don't start reading till like 3rd grade. Is that?
Yeah,
it's like second. I think 2nd grade is.
Like really go into it.
Yeah, no, really going into.
I mean, you start reading, but you're reading like freaking.
The teacher.
The snake says.
The teacher isn't asking you to
like
read.
Literally.
Yeah, the teacher isn't asking you to read a paragraph in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
I
So.
mean, I was reading like.
No, I read Beowulf in 3rd grade.
Yeah, I was reading like little picture books.
I was kind of a special.
Is that because your parents like pushed you, or you're just?
I just like found like really just like safety in reading. Like I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of TV, and so I just kind of like I was like, what else can I do? And we had a library down the street. Like I was like really just like into reading.
So, as the grades progress, though, they get a little bit more rigorous.
Yeah.
Like
no, they totally do. Yeah.
So
in high school,
you can write a 10-page paper in college, fine.
Yeah.
Do you think Waldorf prepared you for that?
I would say so. I've always been kind of like maybe like not exceptional, because I don't want to sound too like full of myself.
Good.
I've always had like, I think it's because I read so many books when I was young, but I think I like reading and writing always kind of came pretty.
What about on average though? The average Waldorf kid? Do you think they're going to be prepared?
Average Waldorf school. You know, it's actually hard. It's really hard to say, because some grades are full of kids who are like acting kids, like theater kids, and some grades are full of kids who are like all athletes. And so like it can really change. And I think a good example of that is the senior projects that you do. You do a project that takes like the whole year as a senior, and it really can show like different like where you want to go in life. So
what is this project?
It's whatever you want. You find like a mentor, I believe, and just kind of like make something. So 1 year, it really shows. So like 1 year there was a girl who's like applying to modeling agencies, and now she has 115,000 followers on Instagram, and she's like a model. But then there's another girl who like made a soup that was like connecting with her heritage, and I don't really know what she does now. And then there was another kid who like did like last year somebody made a clock, like they like engineered a clock, and now he's at like there's a
MIT?
No, it's the one up state a little bit. R something.
In Rochester?
I think so.
Rochester Institute of Technology?
Maybe.
Okay, but so he's in a good.
He's in a good engineering school, and so it's kind of like a way to show everything you've learned in high school and culminate it into a senior project. Somebody built a van and now they're traveling the world. It's like a way to express yourself.
What are you gonna do?
I have no idea. I've been trying to think about it. I'm not sure at all.
Well, you got like 2 years. So
yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you would recommend it, but with precaution, like maybe like.
I think there are definitely things that you would want to like trust a public school to do, because also it depends on the teacher. Like our teacher, Miss Almquist, she like love her. She's the best.
Yeah.
We got so lucky with her, because she's an angel. Like she is like such a good teacher as well.
Sure.
And she really had us do a lot of like reading and writing. Whereas other teachers don't make you do as much. Some teachers are really like math heavy. Like they like teach you how to do all this math and stuff.
Because also in the lower grades, it's just your teacher teaching you.
Yeah. So depending on like we don't have a math class with a new teacher until high school or middle school.
So if your primary teacher is not math heavy, there's no expectation for math?
No, there is. There's still a curriculum, but they're not maybe as good at teaching it.
Gotcha.
So
because they go to like a teaching school and they're all taught like the same thing.
Yeah.
But they'll go into stuff more heavy.
Fascinating.
And not heavy.
Yeah. I'm just gonna update the old man.
It's all right. We're losing light anyway, so we should probably wrap up anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So, any closing thoughts?
I guess.
Any last thoughts on Waldorf? Any piece of information you want to give?
Yeah, I think to to all people, like I think Waldorf gets a bad rap for being a little out there and a little like culty.
Yeah.
I think it has its charm, and I think it's if you're really like gonna be happy with like a group of friends that you can get really close with, that and like a small like tight knit.
So maybe if you're a
Squad.
kid who is not super social
Yeah.
and wants the smaller environment, Waldorf could
Yeah,
be for you.
it totally. And also, I think if you're the Waldorf doesn't have AP classes, which is like kind of a red flag for me. So if you're really focused on your future, really want the colleges to like look at you. Like,
So maybe if you're trying to like go to a Harvard, Waldorf, at least Hawthorne Valley might
well,
not be for
actually,
you.
no. But another thing, we have one of my teacher, Ms. Almquist, her son goes to Princeton. He graduated from Hawthorne Valley, and
Really?
that's like the best Solomon.
Solomon.
That's the best high school or the best college in the nation.
Yeah, one of I don't know.
Well, they
there.
also made the list, so it's a little, but
biased
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Good for him though, nonetheless.
No, yeah.
Princeton
So
is
I think
crazy.
guess Hawthorne Valley is also considered a prep school. So I guess to
I know that.
yeah, because they teach classes at like AP levels sometimes. It's a little weird, but I think if you want to be like a diamond in the rough, go to public school. If you want to be surrounded like by a small group of like really like creatives, then Hawthorne
Sure.
Valley is where it's at.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's a good perspective. I'm glad
Yeah.
we brought you along to fill in some of the gaps that
yeah,
Noah
no,
didn't know.
I've actually
know
never
about.
like explained my school like this, and so it's pretty.
It's good. Now you're getting practice,
Yeah,
getting your thoughts
and also
out there.
I was surprised. Like some of the smartest people I know, like teach at the school. Like the teachers
That-
are
yeah.
really like really interesting.
That I've heard. I've heard that it produces some pretty interesting.
Yeah,
teachers.
I could totally talk to them for hours.
Yeah.
They're really cool people. And they've also like done a lot of things. Like they're not all like fresh, like young teachers. Like I'm gonna
Sure.
teach. Like they're like our like
They have
subject
life
teachers.
They
They have life experience,
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my teachers, she used to be like Jane. Do you know Jane Goodall? She photographs chimpanzees.
Yeah, I do know who that
She used
is.
to be her assistant,
Interesting.
and so she has like all that
And
experience.
then she goes to Waldorf school.
And yeah, and she teaches like English and government, and like she taught government was one of my favorite classes.
I really like that about Waldorf, that like in the public school you have to get certified and you have to like show expertise and mastery in a subject,
Yeah.
where like they trust this ex-chimpanzee photographer to like teach government. And
yeah,
I think it's
no,
more
she teaches a really good government class.
and I think
took
it's
this
exactly, it
class.
doesn't matter what your test scores were on a teacher exam. It's like if you can show proficiency,
Yeah.
that's kind of good enough.
Yeah, in high school they do also switch to a more like testing kind of
Sure.
public school-y environment, but it still kind of carries the
I
creativity.
think middle school and like elementary school there. And
It's very
kindergarten is more different than public school.
Yeah.
And then once it gets into high school,
Yeah, they
it's
kind of blend.
more normalized.
Yeah, because
Somewhat.
and I think that actually does help it out a lot, because then it leaves less up to your teacher and more up to like how you take Waldorf.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
They'll leave it up to like interpretation almost. It's a lot of student agency, right?
Yeah,
You're not
totally.
just like there to be another machine.
No, yeah,
Worker.
and it also in small classes allows the teacher to be more personable. with
Oh,
you.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a question.
You have a question.
Was in the comment section of TikTok a bunch. You know how like the teachers move around to their classes?
Oh no, we don't do that anymore.
Well, no, in lower grades.
In lower grades, yeah, in lower grades you have like one room, like the
Yeah,
eighth grade
yeah,
room, and if
yeah.
you're teaching an eighth grade class, you go to the eighth grade room.
Do you think teachers like that or didn't like that?
You know, I think sometimes I do like go outside and I see my Spanish teacher like huffing it across campus, trying to get to like her next class. I think that kind of is difficult,
That's funny.
and like I mean,
Throws off the teacher because then you got to get to the room prepared.
and sometimes they don't
That's-
even know.
That's what
Yeah.
people were saying.
Yeah, so it is
Wow.
kind of difficult. But like also one of our teachers, he totally like came from public school, and he totally made this one room his room, and then like he that didn't get shut down, but like they were teaching other classes in it, and he'd come in at recess and start like cleaning stuff up because it's like his room.
Yeah.
And so even though it wasn't his, he was keeping good care of it, and that's like a public school habit. And then he tries to teach out of that room.
So what do you think? Do you like that you sat in the class and had the teacher come? Do you miss? Because I had 5 floors in my high school,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'd walk up and down and all around the
2
school.
floors.
So like, would you like something like that?
You know, I actually do. I like getting to classes. I think it's fun, and I think
It's cool to see your friends in the hallway.
exactly, yeah.
I
Well,
still-
I don't even
You're
see them
always
in the
with
hall.
your
I'm
friends.
with them. I'm with them all day.
One of my friends, Sebastian, anytime I saw him in the hallways, like immediately tackle each other into the locker.
That's fun. Yeah.
It was like a tradition.
Nice.
I used to keep snacks in my locker and like
Yeah.
go
Dude,
to
my
my locker.
locker's a mess. I got to work on that. It's
Yeah.
like a train wreck.
I liked it though,
Yeah.
getting to like move my body around a little bit.
Yeah. No, totally. I think that it's kind of a personally, I would say I like the fact that it's like we right now we go to classes, but I think that it is also nice to just be
Mhm.
like, oh, I was in this classroom for this class, and then my next class is also in this room.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be like running around all
Sure.
day. They also don't give you that much time in between classes.
Wait, so high school you move around,
High school you move
but
around.
up until 8th grade, the teacher comes to your class.
That's what I'm saying. High school's more normalized.
I guess
public
how I
school.
could say it is lower school, like probably
Elementary,
first,
middle.
elementary, no, just elementary. Elementary, so like first to like fifth, you are like kind of just like floating there. Like everyone is just like working to help you,
Sure.
and you're kind of like just there.
Mhm.
In middle school, they blend that. So the teachers come to you, but then you go to them.
It's more like you have to like.
Warming you up for high school.
It's warming up for high school, and then high school just fully like drop you into the immersion of
Yeah.
you got to get out.
You kind of got to think on yourself. They're not like supporting you.
Yeah, exactly. And so that then
Got
prepares
it.
you for life,
Yeah.
which I think is great. I think it's a good that's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, I think you gave some valuable information to
Yeah.
any people watching. I think you gave some good insight.
Yeah.
A very different perspective than Noah.
Oh yeah.
'Cause his
I haven't
upbringing
gone there
there
in a
was
little
not
bit.
good, so
Yeah.
he might be negatively biased.
No, totally.
That certainly is.
I'm
So
very biased.
I mean, I think you were more negative toward Waldorf in general than, let's say, him.
Yeah, when he goes there.
Yeah, I'm
That's
just
true.
saying it's a good perspective. It's good to get both
Okay.
sides.
It is,
I
it is
got
good to
it.
get both sides, and I there are things I totally dislike about it,
Mhm.
but I kind of there are also things I like a lot.
Sure.
What are things you dislike?
Well,
To finish it off.
yeah, to
Yeah,
finish it off, I really don't like that there's not AP classes because like I feel like there's not a lot of drive from like
Sure.
everyone in the class in subjects. So the teacher's like, Hugo, quiet, so other people can learn, and I'm like, okay. And so like I just wish there was like that opportunity for like an extra, like, oh, I really like chemistry, like I'm just gonna take an extra chemistry class
Sure.
so I can learn more if in case I want to go into that, or just like
I see what you're saying.
for this, yeah. And then so that is kind of just an issue that I've had, and I think a lot of my friends have had. And then another thing is the quality of life stuff is kind of lacking. So like they don't have driver's ed there. I had to go to Ichabod Crane for that. They don't
My high school
have.
didn't have driver's ed either.
Okay.
Most public schools don't have that.
Really?
A lot
Okay.
of them don't.
Yeah, well,
You don't want
every
public
other
schools
school
driving
has that.
cars.
Every other public school in this area has that, in my experience.
It's the country guy drive up here.
Long
You
Island
gotta-
has
you
it
gotta
too.
drive.
Long Island has driver's ed.
Yeah, so they don't have that. They don't really teach you too much about like life. Like there's no like job application. Like I really would like. I think there are some people in my class that I'm like a little worried. I'm like, I think like it would be really helpful if we like learned how to like sign off on a check or like deposit a check, write a check,
There's
like
nothing in that.
apply for like credit cards. You know,
Sure.
like that kind of thing.
How to do a job interview, how to
Exactly.
email a boss,
Yeah,
something like
and
that.
I think they leave that up to electives, but a little bit too much. Like a little bit too much for the teachers.
So you
to
think
have
if they
to-
had like a life skills class where you went
yeah.
through all that sort of stuff?
Totally. Yeah, and like last
agree.
year, our electives, it came down to I wanted to like the choice. I was like, if I learned CPR, like CPR elective, I could learn this and I could use it later, or I go to this class which I could use later. And I was like trying to like really decide between.
So you actually want some preparatory things
Yeah,
where like
I
when
think
you
that's
leave
what
the
it
school you can use it.
Yeah,
I think a
totally.
lot of people want that, myself included. I mean, it was rough. It's rough. So what about one thing you like? We can end it on a good note.
Yeah, and on a good note. Okay,
The thing you like about it most.
think I liked one the most. Damn, that's a hard one. I gotta really think. Wait.
Or just, something that whatever pops into your head. No,
Okay,
no pressure.
I gotta say, they have some of the most interesting classes I've ever like been a part of. I think part of that comes from the teacher, totally. But like we have like talked about some of the most interesting things that like have made me think. Like I've been like a lot of people in my class. There was like a scandal earlier this year because some people were like uncomfortable with what we were talking about. But like I was,
What was it?
dude, I don't know if it's appropriate.
Everything's appropriate.
Yeah. So one of my teachers. Actually, no, I don't. This I should not go public with this.
Let it go.
No. I
Oh, you don't want to like air Halter
yeah, exactly. No, there basically we edit right here. Okay. So there was like a scandal earlier with a teacher, and he was teaching something that made people feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
And so they told their parents, and then it just like kind of cracked down on him, which I was frustrated with because I find like it's really cool to learn when you're uncomfortable with something. Because
Learning is very often uncomfortable.
Exactly, and like
Yeah.
you can learn some of the most interesting things when you're uncomfortable with it.
Sure.
Because like it's just like whoa, like I haven't thought about something like that ever.
Absolutely.
Like that has totally made me think on like a whole other level. And so that is something I think Hoffman like really like offers like some of the coolest classes.
So you think they push the boundary in a good way,
Yes.
where
totally.
like they get you not uncomfortable on purpose, but like some serious stuff is going to make us uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes.
No, yeah, it's pretty real sometimes. They don't balance that too well though. Some like there is pretty like a bubble for like, a lot of the kids coming into high school. They like didn't have phones, and that leads to its own thing. Like sex ed was like tough, man.
Mm-hmm.
These kids like, well, they're like, so like the man has like what? And
They
like,
really don't know this stuff.
they
Like,
really don't.
I mean, my mom had to talk with me when I was like 8 years old,
Same.
so I feel
no,
like
I learned like I also my family like so I come from a really big family, and like we like always swimming naked. It's like a small thing, and so like I kind of like always had a comprehension of like what was going on.
interesting.
Yeah, no, I come from a weird family. Don't put that in. And so like
We can blurt that out.
yeah, so I just like have always had an idea of what has been going on, and like some of these kids had no clue.
Yeah.
And they were just like, what? Like it's wild.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't know how. I think that's an interesting argument with schools is like, what do you leave up to the parents, and then what do you allow the school to do, right? In terms of your teacher talking about the inappropriate stuff, so to speak. I think that's a hard one, right?
Yeah. And some parents are really sheltering. Like the parents, my dad. So there was an email thread about it, and my dad was like, oh, what are you like okay with it? Like, yeah, I don't really care. I think it's really cool. And like I was like a little mad that my classmate was like upset with this. And he was like, yeah, it's like it's a little weird. This parent is hopping on it like that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like these kids are old enough to kind of make their own.
Well, it's cool your dad asked you like, hey, are you comfortable with it? And then you said yes or no, and then he planned accordingly. I think a lot of parents are trying to protect their kids, but they're overbearing.
Yeah, and especially with the internet, like you can find anything anywhere. So these parents like really halting the school, kind of just like didn't really do too much.
Yeah, it's better to like hold your child's hand through the exposure than when they get it on their
block.
When I got the internet for the first time, because my mom tried to hold it off on me for a while. I mean, it was
your
bad.
mind goes wild. Yeah.
No, it was bad. The things I looked up and my Google search and.
Yeah, I mean it's rough. Like it's really like an what's it called? An output for your curiosity.
Sure.
Yeah.
Indeed, it is. I think that's a good piece of wise advice.
Yeah, totally.
To end people with. All right.
Yeah. Awesome.
Any closing thoughts, anyone?
I'm chill.
All right.
Yeah. See.
Adjourned.
Adjourned.